Hi everyone. Today we have a great interview with Syed talking about his journey as a software tester and becoming an AI tester. Syed, how are you doing?
I am doing amazing. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. So to start, I understand that you were hoping to become a footballer someday, but that evolved into becoming a professional AI tester. Can you give us a little bit of insight into your story?
Yes, definitely. So, uh, obviously, like it was when I was young, it was a dream to become a footballer. Amazed by the Premier League and La Liga at that time when I was in the school. So, apparently, like I am from Pakistan, where football is not a very good profession to choose, and I don't think there was much scope in that. So like I choose the industry in which there is a growth and the future is there. So uh, initially I decided, but like later I moved on to a proper field. And like I also have an interest in that field from the very beginning, because my brother is also from this field, and he has quite an amazing experience in that as well. So like I kind of get a consultation from him. I told him I wanted to do that. He told me this is that. So after that, like I decided, no, I think it is time to evolve myself into something professional. And then I decided to go into the IT field, and then there's that, and now I'm here.
Yeah, you talk about that opportunity. Obviously, I feel like a lot of kids want to be athletes and everything like that. And you talk about your brother, helping get that opportunity. And so you mentioned getting into software testing. So specifically, how did you get into AI testing? And as an AI tester, how would you say that your role is different from, that of a manual tester or someone that works in test automation?
So I'm gonna say it like this. I started my career as a manual tester, where like the main focus is like from the requirements, we need to make sure that the expected requirements are meeting the actual requirements. And then later I moved to automation, where the focus is like you need to improve the testing process. It should be faster, it should be good. And then there comes the AI era, in which like the LLM are introduced, and people are now writing test cases from that. MCP are being used. And then there was data driven concept, and BDD as well. So the thing is, right now with the help of AI, we can predict things, we can write things, but it also involves human intelligence. Especially you need to monitor the thing that has been written by the AI. Sometimes it diverts from the main topic, and things like that. But obviously by doing that, like I got a very good command on how LLM works and how LLM behaves and what to focus on. The most important thing I find out is that about the performance. And then the LLMs are biased sometimes, and there might be some ethical issues related to that. Because like while we let the AI do our work, we need to focus on these things, because there are very much monitoring bodies and everything that we need to be considered, like HIPAA and everything, in which the data needs to be secure. So these are kind of things help me when I have done the AI certification and everything. Now the focus and everything has been changed. It helps me with different aspects of the testing.
Yeah, I think that's a great point how you bring up how AI helps you, but AI is also biased and it needs that human intervention because without it, it can
Yeah.
do all sorts of things. So
Yes.
speaking of the AI testing, you have both ISTQB foundation level and you have ISTQB AI testing. So how do you think these have helped you in your career from manual testing to automation to being an AI tester?
Definitely. So, you can study in the university and you can study from different people, but obviously to get into the field and get the core concepts from the international body itself, I think you need those certifications to help you grow in your career. And obviously, ISTQB CTFL is like one of the best things. They are continuously improving. They are introducing new things, new principle as well. So if I let you just compare it, 8 years ago there was no component integration testing. But right now, if I go into the course of CTFL, I can see that. So the testing has been improving, the concepts are improving. So obviously, if your fundamentals are not that good, you need to uh, you need to be a professional, and someone with the strong fundamentals can beat you easily in that. So a structured thinking and probable thinking, that what you get from if you are doing the ISTQB CTFL. With respect to the AI, obviously this is an AI era, and if you are not using AI to your work with different models, different behaviors, and if you are not validating the data, then I don't think you are doing enough for the community or enough for yourself. Like AI is there for you to be used, so you can use that to make your life easier, but you cannot 100% rely on it and just let the AI decide whatever is going to do. That's like the one of the quoting AI testing has told me, ISTQB AI, that you need your relevance, you need your own human intelligence to deal with this. And the whole, I've done the first version. So the 11 chapters actually were very thorough, and they told me about each and every aspect, how LLMs can be misused. And, you know, as a tester, the data, when you are writing the test cases, you have lots and lots of data, so you don't need to give the data to the AI like that. So you can use that structure and everything. So obviously, after doing that ISTQB, CTFL, and AI, now obviously when you have studied, when you have read things, so you have become more confident in life, and you are confident in doing your task, I would say. So obviously you will become a very well-rounded tester if you got the certification from an international body. I think you can choose any country you want, but obviously you are going to need it because we are going into a very specific era of AI. So these kind of certification would be validated, and it's going to give you an edge over those who don't have it. It's like very clear.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. We are really in the AI era now, and AI is there to be used. You talk about, ISTQB AI giving you an edge, and so
Yeah.
for people wanting to transition into AI testing, you kind of mentioned this, but how do you think ISTQB AI helps them?
So, okay, consider this: if you are working for a company and they are allowing you to use multiple LLMs, you can use different models, you can use different types. But a good work need a proper structure. Okay, with the help of AI testing, if you learn it from a very basic thing, I mean, you learn it from a proper body, then things would be accessible to you, and a complex field would become very easy when you have a better understanding of this. If you have a core concept of even how LLM works, then why it is going to be difficult for you to even analyze how the answer is going to be. In fact, if you just consider this, being a human, you when AI responded to you in a way they do not wanted, you freak out, you said no, why it is behaving like this, I ask you this, why are you doing that? So if you are at that level, about the AI, then you always say no, this is the issue with that, I should formulate my question like that. So this gives you an edge when you are when you got the knowledge from the base itself. And then obviously you have a background, and maybe people don't have a very depth background from the data science perspective or any other field, but anybody can use AI. But from the tester's perspective, generally, if like I say, I have a background, I studied software testing and project management and everything, but to be practical right now, if you don't know how the LLMs or AI frameworks are behaving, I think this is your mistake. You need to learn that. Being a tester, you always need to know how the functionality works, how the system works. So if you already know how the system works and you exactly know the pinpoint where the issue is going to be, then what is left for you here? I mean, a new model is introduced. Maybe it has some one new feature, but the nine feature would be same from the later one or the previous one. So one additional change is not going to make a very big impact in your testing, I would say. So the practical approach is to if you are a traditional tester, and you are getting overwhelmed by the responses and everything, you need to study a proper course in which you get the very basic details, how, why, when to test, what needs to be tested. So if you are already there, then I don't think it's going to be a problem. So ISTQB CTI is a very comprehensive course, and it's given me a very beautiful insight into the AI based systems. So I would highly recommend to go for it, and change your thinking, and you can change the world with that, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. You said change your thinking and talk about people not feeling confident in using AI. You've touched on
Yes.
a decent bit, but if you just want to give us like how do you think that AI is changing testing like day to day? Like how has your day-to-day testing changed because of AI?
Sure. So previously we were able to write test cases by our own, we get the understanding. So in a very easier way, if I built an MCP server, and I'm using a model through which, like, I feed the data to my AI, and then I give him a context, and I want him to write a test case. So it will save me a lot of time. It will write me a test case. I just need to overview it, and if something needs to be changed, I even ask the AI to change that for me. So a typical answer I would say would be, obviously the world is changing, the systems are changing dynamically, and the world is like data driven. Like random data is being generated every minute. The data is not very consistent right now, and the traditional applications now, they are going down. The AI systems are taking over almost everything. So, and AI is very unpredictable. You don't have the same output for everything. So it's going to be, uh, it's like you need to swim in that river if you want to you grow yourself now. So if I would recommend, if any tester is not focusing on AI right now, he needs to do it. Okay, we need to go beyond the simple feature of marking the test as pass or fail. We need to know how that works. We need to increase our knowledge base as well. So I would say uh, the main focus should be on the behavior of the model and the quality and performance, as I mentioned before. I think we need to adapt to that. And regarding the AI based system, if your company decided to integrate AI into your system, so you need to basically understand how that's going to work, core concepts, either they are using APIs or whatever way they are going to work on it. So you need to be very familiar with that. Okay, and obviously manual testing compared to this, it's not, AI is not going to work like that. You need to not just pass fail, you need to improvise, you need to provide your solutions like that in a very I would say creative way, because a simple example is, if you are using LLM and you are giving him some kind of freaking question like, what is your top 10 songs? So what is going to respond? It's not human, but it somehow try to formulate an answer. Or you give him some kind of emergency question in which life or death is involved. So you need to evolve your thinking like that to get in familiar with that. So that's how our industry is changing. Our thinking needs to be changed, a continuously adaptive environment which is very dynamic in nature. So you don't need to keep your brain in a particular position, you need to evolve with this AI as well. So I would again say, if you are good at evolving your skill set, because a good tester always have a great analytical skill, so I think he can analyze what's going to happen in the future. So I would say this is like a very big impact is going to, it will be done in the testing world in maybe few months or few years. I think it's going to, if you are not evolving with that, it's going to be very difficult for you to survive.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that testers need to evolve, and I'm sure, yeah, it's scary to incorporate AI and learn all this stuff, but yeah, like you said, the world is changing. It's people need to move on, and so moving on to my last point. Lastly, people are always wanting to get into testing or just starting their testing careers. You see it all over Reddit, you see it on job boards. So, as an experienced tester, what advice would you give to people who are just getting into testing or want to start into testing?
I would, I might have few points for that. I would say if you are starting your career as a software tester, so initially you need a very good foundation for that. You need to know very core testing principle. You need to know ways. You need to know how analytics work. What is the difference between a statistical work, static work, dynamic work? So I think you need to learn that from a proper source. If you are not doing that, I mean, as I told you, if someone has edge over someone, why? Because the knowledge is stronger and the depth of knowledge he has. So there is a difference between a resource and a good resource is the depth of knowledge. So if you are making your knowledge from with a strong foundation, I think it's going to work for you. And with that, you need to strive for learning. I mean, continuous learning, because thinking is going to change, methods are going to change, the way we work is going to change. So you need to be very good with adaptability. And obviously, you know, as I always say to the new people, like, you need to practice a lot right now. You cannot just read the thing, you can not just go with the theory and you have a very good assumption, but in practicality you are nowhere. So you need to work with their application. There are many applications out there in which you can work. So you need to work on that. You need to try to find bugs in that. You need to adapt to AI in that. You need to integrate AI into that. You can learn. I don't think it is very difficult right now for new people who are exploring this field. You can integrate like multiple AI and resources together just to increase your knowledge, just to get your work done easily. I would say get into automation, get into testing, and whatever field you're going to choose, either you want to become an API tester or security tester or performance tester, it's up to you what you want to be, but always get the knowledge from authentic source. And like many of us have done from the ISTQB, they offer variety of courses and everything. So we have the very good knowledge base, so we don't have to go anywhere. You can choose your field very wisely. It's like so many courses are there, you can choose from that. So I would recommend to go with the foundation and fundamentals, but keep your knowledge stronger, apply your knowledge to practicality. So and you must be very open to the continuous learning. And when you are learning thoroughly, your analytical skills grows very fast. So this is like my recommendation. You can, if you can follow that, I think you would be an excellent resource in the future.
Yeah, I think that's some really great advice for people getting into testing. And so thank you so much for your time today. I'm sure it's super insightful to hear from an experienced AI tester. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for your time.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.
You too.